Okay, I'm making another video on a brand new camera I just acquired. This camera is a 1080i or 1080p, I think. It's a JVC. It's a 540 HD. Alright, a little bit about this area that I live in. Now, I live in Chester County, Pennsylvania. This is a county that's located near Delaware County. Now, Delaware County is named so forth as it's near Delaware County. It's the most southeastern township or area that's connected to Delaware. If you ever see the top of Delaware, it looks like a circle. That would be Delaware County. The next county over to the west is Chester County. Now, this county has a lot of history in it, as you know by a lot of these videos that I produced. It's very educational here. There's a lot of people that take pride in the area here. Now, I'm in a meadow right now. I'm in a reserve park that's located near Westchester, where I live. Now, up into the distance, you'll notice that this field goes on and on. Now, there's a whole bunch of buttercups in the area, which makes it attractive. This area was given by the Strausses, or I'm sorry, the Strodes, not the Strausses. Now, Strodes was a landowner in this area. The first video I ever filmed was at Strode's Mill. That was their mill from about 1740 to about 1840 or 1850. They owned a grist mill. Now, that's all action during the Battle of Brandywine. They passed by Strode's Mill. Now, Strode's owned a lot of property here. They must have owned at least 300 acres. Now, their descendants in the past donated this property to Prosperity. They donated about 50 acres of land in Chester County, at which time I'm standing on. It extends to the road and the bridge at a distance. And it'll also go to my right, and also there's a farmhouse, a barn, and education center in this area. Now, this preserve here is really nice. One day I was walking around the facility here and I noticed that I was on a bridge that crossed a small creek. And I looked down and I saw mink, actually black mink, which you never see in this area. It's extremely rare to see any type of animal like that in Chester County. But they were here, and it's a testimony to what's left behind, what people leave behind in areas that they want to keep pristine. Now, this area, when it was donated, it was given by the Chester County Historical Society and the Westchester Historical Society have rights to this land. Now, there could be reenactments here. There could be other things that go on here. There's picnics. There's facilities here where people come, and there's parades here. But this area is left in pristine condition. Basically, all they do is mow this grass. Now, they just don't mow the grass like normal. If you know, they use the grass for feed. What they'll do is they'll come in with their tractors, they'll mow this field, and they'll put the grass into big bundles. And these bundles are brought off for feed and also for bedding for animals. So all this is given back to the area. It's given back free. Whatever comes from this land is given back. Now, Chester County itself is a very wealthy community. A lot of rich people that in the past lived here. And a lot of the people that are associated with Chester County now are Quakers. Now, Quakers it's a religion like I spoke of before. Quakers are interesting people. They're passive, they're peaceful. There's Pennsylvania Quakers in Philadelphia. I met some there, and I met a lot out this way. They're very nice people. Now, like I was saying, the community here is extremely wealthy. Now, there's a certain amount of homes here. Now, these homes are kind of doled out to certain individuals with money. There's a house off to my left. It's right behind me. It's from 1724. It's a very old house. Now, an architect lives in this house, and he owns a barn that's just behind his property. Now, this architect is one of the best known architects in Chester County. He restores buildings. He restores barns to houses. They make barns out of houses here because the structure is already there. They're not building anything new. Now, the dictations of this area is that there has to be so much amount of farmland per square acre or per square mile. They can't build just wherever you see in this area. They don't want it to erupt into an area like Philadelphia, where Philadelphia was rural at one time, and then the suburbs creeped into the rural area the suburbs started to creep into. But this area is very historic. That gives the area a little bit more interest for people. A lot of painters live in this area also. We have a lot of local artists that do a lot of sketch work in the area. They do a lot of outside painting. They do a lot of beneficial things for the community. They sell their artwork for charities. Now, another charity that's in Chester County that we have also is, our food bank. Our food bank is one of the best well-known. It's part of Philabundance. Now, Philabundance is the main resource for low-cost families in the area. Now, Philabundance feeds many families. We donate a lot of our food here through food banks through Philabundance. Also, a lot of our stores in town, if you ever go into Westchester, Pennsylvania, there was a couple videos that I filmed there. Now, these stores are owned by a lot of restaurants. It's a restaurant-y type area. But also, there's a couple donation stores. What you do is you take some of your antiques or things that you don't want or that are valuable, and there's a group of individuals there, a few old ladies there, and they sell off your items at normal cost. They're not too expensive, but all the money's given to our Salvation Army and the homeless. I think it's great to live in this area, that we have communities that attempt these, that do this for the community. But I wanted you to see this landscape. This is Chester County. If you look on the back, you'll see mountain ridges, and you'll see hills, and you'll see barns. Now, I'll do a 330 panorama of the area so you can get a feel of what the area looks like. Now, this area, like I said, pretty much stays the same. All this land that we're standing on has been in families for over 300 years. The first settlers in Chester County were probably around the 1680s, possibly 1670s. They bought up grants of land through William Penn. William Penn owned this tract of land. It was called the Welsh Tract, and he subdivided most of this to a lot of landowners. Now, the biggest landowner that bought in this area from William Penn was the DuPonts. Now, if you know anything about DuPonts, I did a couple of videos about some of their area. That's just a drop in the bucket. These people owned a lot of property. I can go on for an hour filming the DuPont estates. Now, they don't really like filming. There's certain areas that the DuPonts don't want filmed. They don't want it more commercialized than it is. It's a very quiet establishment. But DuPonts bought in this area also. They owned a lot of property in this area. But this was local people. They owned this, farmers. This would have been a plowed field. Now, there's the Brandywine is right behind me here. This is one of the branches of the Brandywine Creek. This is, I guess it's the eastern branch. It's not the western branch. It's right off to my right here. And like I said, in the distance you can see. Now, I'm going to try this new camera out. I'm going to pan around. I'm going to give you a close-up of Gibson's Bridge up there. It's very pretty. Now, as you saw in the distance there, I photographed a couple of our houses in the area. Now, these are basically on hills. They're really not on mountains as you see out west. I was out in Palm Springs and I noticed that mountains, they call them mountains for a reason. You could be driving and all of a sudden the mountain just rises from the ground where you're standing. These are hills, or valles as they call them. Now, as you see, there's a lot of wildlife in the background. You see birds go by, you'll see hummingbirds. You'll see a lot of other things in this area. I'll go into that in a minute. But there's a barn up there. I think I probably got most of it. But, you know, this was an area where a lot of people just came and experienced life. They came here to farm. They came over across the sea to have a new life. And there was a lot of opportunity in this area. This was wide open, this area, during the 1720s all the way probably up to the 1830s. Now, during the 1920s, this area started to get a little bit more populated in the outskirts here. There was a lot of commercialized farming that went on here. Now, most of the barns you see in Chester County today are commercialized barns. A lot of these old barns don't survive. Now, I showed one right behind me. It had slits in it. It was made out of local stone. Now, that barn dates from where that house is. It's 1726, so when the house was constructed, the barn beside the house was probably constructed also. Now, the house is really difficult to see. I couldn't even get it on camera, and it's kind of off limits to film it. It's a very nice house. If you drive by, you'll be able to see it. It's brick, which is odd. Usually a lot of these homes that were from the early 1720s were made of local stone, of serpentine. But this house wasn't. It was made with bricks. So these bricks had to come in. So whoever lived there, it was probably a local. I think it was Isabel, I think her name was, that lived in this house back then. It was made out of bricks, and you know, they had to import all these bricks. They weren't made on site like rocks and quarries were. So as you hear the cars meander by and you hear the birds in the distance, you know, I just really enjoyed moving here. Now, I'm going to be moving pretty soon out of this area. I'm not going to move too far from the area, but like I said, I'm going to miss the brandy wine. I'm going to miss the smell of the brandy wine. You know, I'm a Delaware County boy. Like I was saying before, where the tip of Delaware is. I grew up there, and I did a lot of fishing along the Delaware River. So I'm kind of used to the Delaware River and the smells of the Delaware, and they have a unique smell to them also. But as you drive down here, if you ever go out here on a motorcycle tour, you know, I have a motorcycle and I do ride in this area, but it's just every season you notice that different smells come through. You'll get jasmine, you'll get different flowers, you'll get the brandy wine. As the brandy wine starts to heat up and mature, as I call it, you'll get this unremarkable smell. You'll never forget it as long as you live. Now, I wanted to mention just one other thing before we exit the video, was Marley and Me. If you ever seen that movie, Marley and Me. Now, in the beginning, they ran in their wedding dresses down a snowy street. Now, that was in Westchester, Pennsylvania, where I live. We did watch the filming there. It was Jennifer Aniston and Owen Wilson running down the street. Now, as you see during the movie, they're basically in, I think it was St. Petersburg, Florida. So a lot of it was taped in St. Petersburg, Florida. But when he got a job with the Inquirer, the Philadelphia Inquirer, he came to this area. Now, as you see in the opening credits, you'll see a dog running through a field. And then you'll see another dog chasing, Marley chasing this other dog. Now, that was Chester County. That's what you're seeing back of me. A lot of this was filmed in this area. But when Owen Wilson comes back and they're driving, and you'll see this beautiful scene, and it's the country, as they call it. They say they're going to the country. That's Chester County. That's our county. That's what we see. It's beautiful. It really is. Even in film, it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, as you see where they live, that was in Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania. That house, I did a video on it, is on the battlefield. And they were very impressed with the area. I talked to some of the locals that lived across the street from, we call it the Marley and Me house, is that Jennifer Aniston and Owen Wilson and the film crew went over there. They had dinner with the locals, and they said they were very nice people, and this was a beautiful sight. It was very nice to film in this area. But as you see, you know, this is what Chester County looks like, and I'm very happy to be in this area. And I'm kind of a little bit sad that I'm moving a little bit out of the area. But I will do some filming here. I'm going to keep filming in the area. There's still a lot of things that I haven't done yet, so just keep yourself posted.